Fire, 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 fire. Let's watch it. What's Canada doing now?
Hope you guys have had a great weekend. We've got some hilarious news being reported here. Apparently, Ubisoft is, as Bandar Hub says here in their tweet, preparing to curb the backlash against critics of Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're going as far as sending lawyers after you if they deem your criticism a targeted attack or harassment.
But what is targeted harassment and an attack? Like, what if I say, like, guys, you probably shouldn't buy this game if you have more than 2 brain cells to rub together? That's like an insult. Whatever they decide, bro. Chat, please donate to my lawyer account. I need to please get help because Ubisoft is going to sue me. I've made so many fucking posts, content farming this shit. They're gonna get me!
My gosh, isn't that pathetic? They include this diagram.
No
Check
shot.
this out. Ubisoft prepares an anti-harassment plan to target critics. News, according to BFM TV, an extreme and stressful situation that Ubisoft prefers to anticipate. An anti-online harassment plan was even presented to the CSE to accompany the game's release and protect and
Communications Security Establishment in Canada. It's a government agency. Bro, they got the Canadian CIA on this shit. Chat, just know that when the day comes and this game comes out, some guy is reading your comments and writing it down. Yeah. They're writing down your insults.
Please, quote, it's an initiative.
Remember to write something really clever so they have to laugh when they write it down.
From Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack, unquote, explains an elected official. Psychological and legal support is promised to employees who are targeted. Another quote here, unlike what we've had before, this is serious.
There are people getting kidnapped. There are children getting kidnapped every day in America. Like, a child goes missing every 8 minutes, and this is what we're serious about. We live in a dystopia, bro.
Thus, messages posted by internet users on X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to respond quickly to the slightest problem.
I'm sorry, I keep pausing. I just can't imagine. Like, what if they watch one of my videos and they have to see some VTuber for fucking making fun of a game? That's what you get paid for.
Lawyers are already ready to file complaints in the event of proven harassment.
Oh fucking corona, dude.
So yeah, we've actually seen this sort of corpo jargon from various other corporations before as well. And they seem to love loosely defining this stuff or like not defining it at all, right? Like oftentimes what they would call targeted harassment or attacks is like valid criticism against the game. And you would think this sort of corporate corruption is something anyone would like get behind criticizing, right? Like this is not something that should be defended. However, activist outlet The Gamer apparently is taking Ubisoft's side on this one. They write, Ubisoft reportedly has a plan to protect devs from harassment when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches. With the bullet points, Ubisoft reportedly has a plan in place to protect devs from abuse after Assassin's Creed Shadows launches. Devs are apparently already being told to be cautious on social media, and Ubisoft is also said to be collaborating with a Canadian government agency is combat online abuse. What? I think they...
Your taxpayer dollars in Canada. There are so many people that pay into taxes in Canada. And this is what they're spending it on, chat. Aspen's gonna tear apart Ubisoft and they're gonna serve him papers. Bro, I pray that they serve Aspen papers. I pray that they serve Hirohei fucking papers. Is he Canadian? I don't know. Does this imply that you can't criticize him if you live in Canada, or like, I don't know how it works. I'm not a lawyer. Yo, I should have legal mindset. I should have legal mindset, like, on call or something. Be like, hey, sir, how does this work?
Meant to combat online abuse, not is combat online abuse, but who knows with these people. Furthermore, they actually write, like the full article here, they say, it's hard to imagine that morale has been great at Ubisoft since Assassin's Creed Shadows reveal. The first trailer was released last spring, and since then the game has been hit with delays, and the studio has faced layoffs. But of course, the main story surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows is the backlash, as the anti-woke /DEI/whatever it's called now movement made the game its latest target.
Lest we forget, less than 5 minutes ago, we watched a video of a Japanese person that broke down the inaccuracy, the historical inaccuracies in your dogshit ass video game in the pre-order edition. But yes, somehow that is a DEI. Not cause it's a cringe shit game. Yeah.
This was all because Yasuke, one of the game's protagonists, while critics say that they take issue with Shadows referring to Yasuke as a samurai, it doesn't take a lot of looking to find violently racist imagery.
Where? I have yet to see that. I have yet to see that shit.
And language being used towards the game and its depictions of its black protagonist. The backlash was intense, with Elon Musk joining in on the hate.
Oh my
god,
dude.
Let's pause for a second.
The guy quote tweeted one thing and said, your game sucks or something, and that's like, oh my god, I'm gonna blow my ass apart over it.
There's been a lot of critiques towards this game for various reasons, including even the architecture apparently being more Chinese than Japanese, including people who even tried the game out already criticizing how clunky Yasuke felt to play, and or that he also just made the combat like way too easy. It's like easy mode. Those are just a few examples. But hey, to the activists over at The Gamer, of course they want to try and manipulate a narrative around this whole thing. I also love how journalists and other modern audience type of people, etc., constantly try and act like DEI is something that like gamers made up, when we're just using the terms that corpos literally made. You have literal corporations and government.
When you take a word and then use it in a derogatory manner, it automatically becomes derogatory to them. Yeah.
Agencies using this term, and then when people start talking about it in the public,
I'm not surprised if people start using it as a fucking slur.
Suddenly, oh, whatever they're saying, DI, woke, whatever. It's like, bro, we're literally using the corpo terminology. And you would think that these activists at The Gamer would agree to criticize corrupt actions from corporations, including this whole like new policy that Ubisoft is apparently implementing to protect Assassin's Creed Shadows from critiques. But no, to these activists, just because gamers are critiquing Ubisoft, they decide they want to stand with the corporations, with giant corporations. Yeah, wonderful activism, isn't it? Continuing, they say, now it seems that Ubisoft, it prepare... What?
Huh?
Another typo? What is this? Now it seems that Ubisoft, it prepare for this. To even get worse at launch. As reported by Tech & Co., spotted by recent...
It's prepared for this. I was reading this and I was like, that's not a typo, it's up here.
Era user Arabedo. Ubisoft is said to have implemented a plan to protect its devs as we approach Shadow's launch. This reportedly includes offering psychological and legal support and is part of a Canadian initiative against online abuse. Fortunately, this is something companies...
Bro, just go private or something. It's not that deep. You don't have to have devs engage with, like, the people online. People already use DEI in place of slurs. Oh boy. Yet another dog whistle taken up by those rhinoid chuds.
Have to account for now. Of course, the attacks have been going on for some months now. We're advised not to post on social media that we work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment, says one Ubisoft worker quoted in the report. As
translated from French.
This Ubisoft is said to be working with the Canadian Communications Security Establishment, and
of course you can say it in English.
It's an initiative from Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack. Unlike what we've had before, this is serious. Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on March 20th. We'll have to wait and see where it lands with fans and critics. You know what? I would not even be surprised if this was just massive coke from Ubisoft. What I mean by that is, I wouldn't be surprised if their own employees don't want to post that they work at Ubisoft, not because they're afraid of gamers or whatever, that's the spin, but because they simply don't want to post that they work at Ubisoft because they're embarrassed to work at Ubisoft. And
No, I don't believe that. I think a lot of them don't care, or they don't know about the backlash, and they just get fed through whatever funnel the PR gives them. It's a very common a common thing for it to happen in order to preserve morale and, like, you know, protect those artists and stuff, and like the people that work on the game. They don't let them, and they tell them not to look at that stuff, and they feed them like what they want to see.
Speaking of Ubisoft's stance against harassment and all that stuff, check this out. Interestingly enough, March 10th, just the other day, Deadline had reported former Ubisoft execs go on trial over toxic workplace as union calls for CEO to be tried for complicity.
What?
Previously, the trial of 3 former executives at French Assassin's Creed video game publisher Ubisoft, accused of sexual harassment and workplace bullying, has begun in Paris. In the backdrop, the Celerities Information Union, representing workers in the French video game sector, has announced it is issuing a request for Ubisoft co-founder and CEO Yves Guillemot and longtime HR executive Marie Derain to also stand trial for complicity in the alleged toxic behavior. There is no suggestion either were directly involved in sexual harassment or bullying. The trial of the 3...
What if it's like toxic positivity? That would be something else. This has been going on for years. This isn't new at all. I had no idea.
Ex-Ubisoft execs is taking place as the beleaguered Paris-based company gears up for the postponed launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th. Much rides on the success of the 14th installment of the hit franchise, with Ubisoft recently reporting a 30% drop in revenue in the first 9 months of its current financial year. The accused men include former Ubisoft Chief Creative Officer Serge...
They were busted years ago, but are only got on trial now?
Haskowit, probably didn't say that right, who was second in command of the company and regarded as co-founder Guillemot's right-hand man for 14 years from 2006. So he's joined with a few other executives as well. And I'm not going to go into like all this trial stuff. I just thought it was rather interesting, as mentioned, that we get the statement from Ubisoft and the Canadian government apparently teaming up and all that. Oh, we're against harassment. Meanwhile, all this is going on too. Of course, at least as of the time of recording this video, I don't believe they've been found guilty or anything like that. It seems to be ongoing. But again, interesting stuff, isn't it? We've also talked in the past about how various corporations like to try and virtue signal publicly as they do.
I just want to know what the actual statistic is of like being a forcefully positive company and saying like we don't tolerate harassment, and then behind closed doors actual harassment happens. I would love to see that. Someone needs to make like a little fucking stat sheet.
Deal with their own controversies, so make of all this what you will. Now, I thought it might be fun to end this video with something rather amusing. That takes us to the subreddit for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They say, number 2 in Japan. We
Number 2 in Japan. Meanwhile, this has pre-ordered 80,000 and this one is 600. Oh yeah, number 2.
We have 1, with the included image reading Best Sellers in PlayStation 5 Games. Number 1, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows. And number 3, Split Fiction. And we can take a look at the most downvoted comments on that post, and it's hilarious seeing what upset the Assassin's Creed Shadows defenders over on that subreddit.
Reddit when a game is best-selling first week. Remind me what happened with Dragon Age.
For example, minus 16 downvotes rating. Number 1 on that list is 70k, number 5 is 7k, and MGS3 number 10 is at 2k. We really celebrating 1k sales 3 days from release. This one with minus 19 downvotes reading Reddit when a new game is best-selling first week. Remind me what happened with Dragon Age. And minus 20 downvotes reading My Guy, it is a quote-unquote bestseller with only 7,000 sold for PS5 and 1,000 sold for Xbox. Where's your quote-unquote win, bro?
This isn't even a lie. I'd go and look it up myself, but we just saw a video of the guy looking it up. It said Monster Hunter sold 80,000 in the last month, and then Assassin's Creed only sold 600. This is why I always implore people to check for themselves before they post something stupid, or at least take the L and be like, oh, whoops, I didn't know that number 2 meant that they weren't selling like 50,000 copies. It's 600 copies or something like that.
Ultimately, the mods for the Assassin's Creed Shadows subreddit would decide to lock the post. So yeah, just thought that was pretty amusing. Hope you guys enjoyed the entire segment though. If you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. Appreciate you. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
600 times, is it $70? So they made $42,000. So what is that? Like if the game took $200 million to make, that's like a fraction of a percent. Yeah, a fraction of the percent. Guys, chuds, just get owned, idiot. Yeah.